What's up guys, this is Brent with Western Equipment, and in this video I'm going to be telling you all about this John Deere Z730M. Now to start off, let's talk a little bit about model number, as there are so many different models within the John Deere mower lineup. So starting here at the first letter, we do have a Z, and this is going to indicate that this is a zero-turn mower. Now within the Z lineup, we are going to have Z3s, Z5s, Z7s, and Z9s. So being that we are here at the Z7, that means we're going to be right below the commercial grade of mowers, which is the Z9s, but we're in the upper end of the residential mowers, being as that we have the Z5s and Z3s below the Z7 series. Now our next two numbers are going to indicate a couple of different things. These are mainly going to indicate a few of the features that are on the machine, but also mainly this is going to be our engine indicator. So right here, if we see that we're ending in a 0, this means that we're going to have a Kawasaki engine. If this were to be a 5, that means that this would have a Briggs & Stratton engine. Now our last letter here is going to be our trim level indicator. Now within the Z7 series, we are going to have the E trim level, which is going to be your more basic model, your M trim level, which is kind of your mid-spec model, and then your R trim level, which is going to be more of like your Cadillac or most loaded out. So right here, we are going to be in that mid-spec trim level. Moving to the back of the machine, let's talk about the engine, as that is one of the #1 focuses whenever we're looking at these lawnmowers, is what type of engine, and also how big is it, and where are my service points. So this is going to be a 24 horsepower Kawasaki engine. Now if we look right here on the air filter housing, you're going to see that it says 24 horsepower John Deere, but to reassure you that this is a Kawasaki, we can look here on the back of the engine, and you are going to see the stickers here that indicate that this is an FS series Kawasaki engine. Now the FS series engine is going to be just a step below the commercial grade Kawasaki engines, which are the FX series, and then it's going to be a step above the what they call the residential series engines, which are going to be the FR series that we're going to find in our Z5 series mowers. So this is going to kind of be that right in between residential to commercial, which also fits right where this mower is in the John Deere lineup. Now let's also talk about service points on this mower. So for one, starting over here on the left-hand side of the engine, we are going to have our fuel filter tucked right back in here. Then leading right from that fuel filter, we'll go ahead and point out where our vacuum fuel pump is. That's going to be important because if we have fuel issues, that's a very easy part to change out there. So we want to know where that's at. Then if we move down and to the left just a little bit of that fuel pump, we're going to see one of our spark plugs here, and then this is a V-twin engine, so we will have 2 spark plugs. So if we move all the way around here on the other side, we'll see that we have the corresponding one over here on the other side. Now, like I said, our air filter housing is right here on top. This is very easy to open. We just turn both of these knobs here, raise this up, and there is our air filter. Now also, along with the air filter housing here, you are going to have 2 clean out ports right here on either side of the air filter. And these are important because we want to know where these are at so we can blow these out from time to time to make sure that we're maintaining those cooling fins for our engine. Now moving on over to the right hand side of the machine, this is where all of our oil components are going to be. So we have our oil fill right here with the yellow cap, and this is also going to be our dipstick attached right there on top. Then right below that is going to be our oil filter, and then sticking out on the side here with this tube, this is going to be our toolless oil drain here. This is going to be a hose that we can simply pull out of that hanger, drop that off to the side, and then we'll be able to drain out that engine oil. Now while we're right here looking over here on this right hand side, I'd also point out this knob that's down here below our oil drain. This is going to be our transmission release lever. Now you have 2 of these on this machine. One is going to be on the right hand side, and then one is going to be on the left hand side, and we need to know where both of those are so that if we get into a situation where we need to tow this mower or push this mower, we need to be able to release those transaxles, and by undoing this lever and pushing it forward, that is going to release these transaxles so that this mower can be pushed or towed if such situation does arise. Also, while we're here at the rear, we will talk about our ROPS or rollover protection structure here. Now, this is going to be in place for any of those times that we're working on hills, maybe we're mowing on those hillsides or uneven terrain where we're going to be using that seat belt. And if we have any inkling at all that we think we may have an upset or overturn situation or a rollover, we want to have this up and in place. That way it keeps this mower from tipping over on top of us. Now, I know that there's situations where we may have low-lying trees or other places where we need to get into smaller spaces. So if that is the case, this ROP structure is very easily folded down. So it is just going to be on a cotter and pin system here, where we pull out one cotter pin and then our big pin. Same thing over here on the other side. Pull out that cotter and then push forward just a little bit on that ROPS to relieve that pressure. And then as you'll see here, we have two different spots here that we can fold this back. So we can fold it back to here, or we can fold it all the way down in this bottom position. Now, like I said, this is going to be great if we're going underneath trees, low-hanging obstacles, things like that. But most of the time, I would highly recommend keeping our ROPS in that up position just to make sure that we're being safe. And it's just as easy there, guys, to pin that right back into place. Just like that. And like that, and then we're good to go. Now, two other service points that are going to be very, very important is one is going to be underneath this seat, and to raise the seat, we have just an easy clamp right here that we're going to pull back, push up on that seat, and it is on a rod system, so then it will hang out just right there. But we'll see this yellow cap right here, right back behind and underneath the seat. This is going to be our hydraulic reservoir that services both of our hydrostatic motors here, our wheel motors. So we need to make sure and know where that's at, and then also where our sight gauge is right here next to that. Now, also the second service point, and one that is also very important, is if you'll notice underneath here, underneath the seat, is normally where our battery would be located. But on the Z700 series, they're actually located here on the fender. You have just an easy turn clip right here. We're going to turn that in, raise up on this housing, take that off, and then that is where our battery is going to be located. Now, you'll notice here that it is held in by a nice strap here, and it does have this nice closure on it to make sure and keep that out of the weather. Now, one other thing is that underneath on this battery cover, you'll notice that we have our service interval chart right here underneath to where it's always on board with you. So if you ever need any reminding of when those services are due, those are right there on board with you as well. Now, moving to the operator station, before I get onto the seat, one thing I like to point out is that this is a very well made, comfortable seat. This is going to be a 22.5-inch high back seat that also I kind of consider a bucket style seat. It's got a lot of curvature here made into the seat to really fit your body and help to kind of hug you into that seat. You're also going to have the armrests here that are going to be adjustable here up and down with these two adjustment screws. So you're going to have one on each side. And then also underneath here, we're going to have two large 4-inch springs that are going to be adjustable into 4 different slots where we can move those either forwards or backwards to be able to adjust that ride of this seat. And then you're also going to have the Comfort Glide system on this seat, which what that does is allows this seat to have swivel fore and aft, just like you can see there, to help with the ride of this mower. Now, you can also lock this seat in solid in that middle position, or you can go all the way to the left position, and that will allow you to either scoot the seat forward or to scoot the seat back. Now, also, one other thing before I hop on is that you are going to have an adjustable foot platform as well. Now, right here, this is in the middle slot, but we also are going to have a third slot that brings that foot platform further out, or you can move this all the way in close if you're that shorter operator to get that foot platform closer. But both of these features are going to be great features for that operator comfort. So from here, I'll go ahead and hop on. and we'll talk about the different features that we've got here in the operator station. Now on the left hand side, we already showed that battery compartment, but you are also going to have underneath here on this battery compartment, you will have a small storage tray right back here, back behind your battery. This will be covered and it will be closed up with your battery cover. So if you have those small things that you need to keep on board and keep covered and out of the weather, this is going to be a great spot for them. Then also over here on the left hand side, we are going to have our large 3-inch fuel opening here with this tethered lid. So if you take that off, you are not going to lose that lid. You have that large 3-inch opening and an 8-gallon fuel capacity on this mower. Now usually what we like to keep as a rule of thumb is about 1 gallon an hour, maybe 1.5 gallons an hour on mowers like this, depending on our cutting conditions. So with that 8-gallon tank, more than likely you're going to be able to get an 8-hour day of cutting out of this machine. Now moving to our levers here. On the M trim level, you are going to have the premium series levers. So what that means is that these are going to have some extra curvature to them. The grips are going to go out a little further here to where you can change your grip. You can get it to where it's closer to you, a little farther away, more spread out. You have multiple different options with the extra curvature in these handles. And then also these handles are going to be adjustable up and down and with the ability to tilt forward or backward, all to make sure that you are the most comfortable when you are driving this mower. Now right down here below my feet, we are going to have a fuel gauge here that is a big nice open sight gauge that you can see that fuel right there. So as soon as you're walking up to the mower, first thing you're going to see is that fuel gauge, so you know if you need to top this mower off before you get started. Then also on our foot platform here, we are going to have a few driving instructions and then also just some warning labels to make sure that you want to keep note of right there. And then as we move over to our right, the next thing that we're going to see is our deck lift pedal. So right now I have this deck set down to 2.5 inches. So if I wanted to raise this deck up and put it in transport mode, the only thing I would need to do is to push all the way out on that lever, and that's going to lock that deck automatically up into transport mode. Then from there, I can reach over to my right, and right here is going to be my height of cut adjustment knob. This is where I can change anywhere from 1.5 to 5 inches in 1/4 inch increments. So I can go here, simply turn this knob whatever height I desire. So right here I'm at 3.5. If I want to set this mower down to 3.5, I'm going to push in on my pedal, raise up on this yellow lever right in front of my knob, and then let off on my pedal, and that's going to set that down to 3.5. Now if I need to change heights on the go, I'm simply going to push that pedal in, change that height really quick, raise up again on my yellow pedal, let that pedal loose, and that is going to lower me back down. And then once again, pushing in right there to get that up into transport mode. Now back behind my height of cut here, I am going to have my PTO switch. This is going to be my blades on and off switch. I'm also going to have my throttle right back here. Then right next to that, we have our key switch and also our choke lever here. Now this is going to be a normal choke that is not on a spring assist. So if you have to choke this mower to get it started, just remember, once you get that mower started, you are going to have to push down on that choke lever to get it out of choke. And then right back behind that, you'll notice a little cutout square here. This is going to be our attachments cutout. So if we're adding such things as lights or any type of other attachment that needs a switch, you do have a cutout that you can put that switch right here on your control panel, easy to access. And behind that, we are going to have a large cup holder here. It's also going to have this notch that goes back towards the back that is going to allow for any of those larger cups with that larger handle. Or if you have just that normal cup there, you also have that larger slot to put such things as maybe your wallet or your keys or your phone, whatever those things may be. You do have that also right there on deck. Now, last but not least, we'll talk a little bit here about our hour meter. If we turn this on, it is just going to be your standard hour meter here, but you'll notice that we have a couple of pictures here, one of a grease gun here and then one of a book with a wrench. So if we do have those lights come up on our hour meter, just know that there is some type of service that needs to go on with this machine when those lights are flashing. Next, let's talk about the deck and the frame of this machine, starting here with the mower deck. So what we have on this machine is going to be a high capacity Pro 60. Now, On the Z730M, you have the option of going with the 60-inch or the 54-inch deck. Both are going to be the high capacity pros. Now what that means is that this is going to be, like it says, a high capacity deck, so it does have that deep deck style all the way down, all the way around the deck. But the pro style of it is that this is going to be a single piece of stamped 9-gauge steel. Now when you move up to the commercial mowers into the Z900 series, those are a 7-gauge steel. So this is just a couple of steps down. This is still going to be one of the heaviest decks that you can get on a residential style zero-turn mower. So if you're looking for that residential mower with that really heavy deck, then this is what you want to be looking at here. It's going to have all of the same features as a 7-iron. As we can see, we're going to have the extra weld mounts here on the side. We are going to have dual captured anti-scalping wheels. Now these will only be here on the front of the deck here. You will not have the rear anti-scalping wheels, but you will also have front rollers there in the front to help with that anti-scalping. Now you are going to have the heavy duty chain hangers here on the side, and this is going to be where we're going to be able to adjust the levelness of this deck. And if that's something that you're looking for, make sure to go check out our other channel, 24/7 Parts, where I show exactly how to level the deck on this mower. Then another thing you'll notice here is this large spring here on the sides. This is going to be a spring assist for that lift system that we showed there in the operator station, making it easier to lift this deck than if it were not on a spring system where we were having to use all of our force to lift this heavy piece of steel. Now we're also going to have the flip up spindle covers here. Now these are going to be great for whenever we're cleaning out this deck, when we're getting done and we're blowing off the top of this deck to keep that debris off. We do have those flip up spindle covers. We also have a nice hole here on the top of that spindle cover to make sure that we can get to our grease zerk, as all 3 of these spindles, which on a 60-inch deck you are going to have 3 blades. Same thing on a 54-inch deck or a 48-inch deck, you will have 3 blades, which means 3 spindles that we need to be taking care of and greasing. So on the 2 outside spindles, we will have these covers and that grease zerk on top. And then to get to our middle spindle, we'll be able to raise up that foot platform, have access to that middle spindle to make sure and grease and take care of it. And then also over there on the right-hand side of the deck, we will have that large opening and discharge chute. That is going to be a spring-assisted discharge chute to make sure and keep that down whenever we're mowing. And it's very important that we keep that in place, as that is going to be a safety feature to make sure to keep those clippings and things blowing in the direction that we're intending them to. Now, as far as the frame goes on this mower, as you can see here, guys, just a very heavy built frame. This is going to be 2x3-inch steel tubing that runs from the front of the mower all the way out to the rear here, around to that rear engine enclosure there, which is also a very nice feature to this frame, as you do have a nice enclosure there around your engine at the rear. Then we're also going to have these welded cross members that go across the front that are going to work great in building just the overall strength of this machine. You're also going to have plenty of points there with those cross members for tie downs. And then also at the rear here, we're going to have 2 built-in tie downs on either side of the engine compartment there. And also along at the back, we will have that rear hitch. So overall, just a very heavy built frame, very versatile to where we can be able to tie this mower down and haul it, and then also have that rear hitch there to be able to add all of those rear implements and attachments. And talking about implements and attachments, one of the nice thing about this high capacity pro deck is that you can add the mulch control kit, and then you can also add rear bagging systems as well. These will have to have a power flow over on the side, but then you will be able to have tubes that go back to a 6.5 bushel hopper at the rear. Now, last but not least, let's talk a little bit about specs and dimensions and warranty on this machine. So one of the main specs that we talk about on these is going to be travel speed. Now on the Z730M, you are going to have a travel speed of 9.5 miles an hour, and this is supplied by the Hydro Gear ZT3200 transaxles that sits underneath this machine. So that is going to be one of the higher level residential transaxles that can go underneath one of these machines, sending you with that higher mowing speed. Now, also, as far as dimensions go, what we're looking at is 82 inches in overall length from front to rear. When we're talking height with the ROPS up, we're at 71 inches, and then with the ROPS folded down, we are at just about 50 inches here to the top of the seat. Now, as far as width goes, if we have a 60-inch deck on, we are looking at 73.3 inches. If we have a 54-inch deck on, we're looking at around 68 inches. And then if we raise that chute up, we can drop 9 inches off of each one of those figures. So that way you have a good idea of what you can get this into. Maybe we're taking that into our barn or our shed, whatever those things are. That way you know the width once you flip that up of what you can get to. Now, weight-wise, what we're looking at with the 60-inch deck, you're at 995 pounds. And then with the 54-inch deck, you are looking at about 965 pounds. Now, our tire sizes, you are going to have pneumatic tires in the front, and then you are going to have pneumatic tires in the rear here. These will vary on the 700 series depending on what size of deck that you get, but here on the Z730M you will only have the one size of tires here that come on the machine. But just remember, those are both pneumatic, so I always suggest that if you do have pneumatic tires, to go ahead, pre-treat those with some sort of anti-puncture solution. I've done a video on our other channel, 247parts.com, talking about the iSeal sealant to go in these tires. So if you are looking at one of these, I'd highly suggest checking that out as well. Now, also, lastly, talking about warranty here, what we're going to have is a 4-year 750-hour warranty. So that is going to be whichever comes first, but that is going to be a full bumper-to-bumper warranty. That's going to cover everything except for our normal wear and tear items. So such things as belts, blades, batteries, tires, things like that will not be covered, but everything else from the front to the rear, you are going to be covered. So guys, I hope you liked this video. I hope this helped you out. If it did, we just ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also guys, if you're looking for any John Deere parts, make sure to go check us out at 247parts.com. And as always guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, make sure to check out this cool video and this one. Buy your parts right up here and subscribe right here.